Hello and welcome to Real Talk episode 143. I'm here with Tyler and George, as always. Cam might be with us later. He said he's really busy today. Unsure what he's doing. I can't remember. Someone's birthday? Something?
No,
I think he's moving or something.
Yeah, he's helping his
Is it moving
mother-in-law
day?
move, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Emma's mum's moving. Yeah,
I think,
perfect.
because Cam's got the truck.
Yeah, might grace with his presence later. We have a pretty packed episode today. Going to be discussing the Phoenician Scheme, which me and George watched. Bring Her Back, which isn't out here until I think it's start of August. George did watch it, so he'll kind of break down his thoughts. Been quite polarizing as I've seen from many people. So keen to hear what he had to think about it. We have a game planned from Tyler today as well, which I have no idea what it is. I don't know if George does either, but that sounds fun.
I don't.
Netflix Tudum was yesterday. So we got news from that for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, Stranger Things,
Wake Up Dead Man.
The Wake Up Dead Man, the Night Out film, and then whatever fucking else, who cares? Some movie news as well that we'll kind of discuss. Before we go into friends, shout out our executive producers. We've got Stefan Johnson, Cody Whitney, and Cole Beaver. We appreciate you guys and appreciate all the support recently, especially on the recent TikToks and that sort of thing. We're trying to do more edits on there and cool stuff. We'll kick it off with kind of how we've been doing, what we've been watching. Tyler, I will start with yourself.
Yeah, pretty standard week overall. Just work was pretty busy. Didn't do much outside of work. Friday we had a design meeting for our wedding, so went through a lot of cool stuff for that to get some stuff started to be planned. And then we have another one in 3 months because it's still 6 months out from now. So started getting stuff ironed down for our wedding, which was a really fun meeting. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did this week. Really not that exciting of a week at all. Starting to get really excited for George's wedding, going to New York, and Riley and I have been talking about some things we want to be doing there. And we mentioned we might want to catch a Mets game while we're in town. We would have preferred Yankees, but they're out of town when George's wedding is. We're going to be in town, but the Mets are in town playing the Angels. So we're thinking of, maybe we get a group together, go to a Mets game. Only reason we prefer Yankees is because it's a little more historic. It's not I really care for the Yankees baseball team, but it's just a cooler stadium to go to. Plus, we just went to a Diamondbacks game where they played the Mets. So it's we kind of saw the 2025 Mets in action already. But, it is what it is. You got to go along with their schedule. So it would be cool to see, just baseball game, because Riley and I love going to baseball games, and baseball games are so fun to go to. I think sporting events, the less you like the sport, the more fun it is to go in person. Personally, football, other than college, because college is a different atmosphere where it's just electric to be in person with students. But football, I love football. I'm really passionate about it. So I'd rather watch it in an environment where I can be locked in and engaged with friends or something on the TV. Whereas when you're in a football stadium, it's you can't really see shit going on. But baseball, I don't really care about that much. So it's yeah, go in person. It's nice day outside, enjoy a hot dog, a nice beverage, peak fun time. So baseball game's fun. We'll go see the Mets.
We're gonna revisit this conversation of sports you like to see in person when you go to your first couple of tennis matches.
Why? Because they're fun in person?
Yeah, I just think you'll have a blast because it's not as
but tennis stadiums aren't that large though, so it's they can be, but compared to a football stadium where you could, if you're in the upper deck of a football stadium, you're not seeing shit. Whereas tennis, most of the stadiums, if you're the top row, you could still probably see decent.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not as chaotic as a football game. So if you're going to see a live sport that and enjoy, but you're also going to be able to actually see what's happening.
Right. Yeah. Because most sports, if I like the sport, I'd rather be up close, which is the most expensive seat. Yeah. So it's at that point, I'd rather just go watch it at home. But yeah, excited for New York. But that's really about it. What I've been watching this week. So Riley and I watched Cloverfield. She was in the mood to watch a monster movie and then chose Cloverfield. So enjoyed it. She really hated TJ Miller's character, really. That almost ruined the movie for her because she was so annoyed every time he would speak. But I think TJ Miller annoys a lot of people, so I don't think that's.
I love the movie. Obviously, it's one of my 5 stars. But TJ Miller is like the weirdest comic relief character in a movie, because like that's not a movie you need a comic relief character for. So it's like she's right to be annoyed by it. I think I've just gotten so used to it.
Yeah, it's annoying to hear his voice so much, but at least he's like the cameraman, so you don't have to like see him on screen as much. But yeah. He's definitely annoying, and it's one of those things like where you can get like annoyed with the horror trope of like someone like always like verbally expressing like, oh, I'm so like, what's going on? Like screaming, and like in your mind, you're like, oh, shut up. That's so annoying. But like, obviously, you know, if you're in the situation too, you'd be freaking out and yelling at too. So it's like obviously logical why they're like saying all this stuff out loud and like screaming and being annoying. But like when you're watching the movie, sometimes you're like, dude, just shut up. Just
it's like,
just go on this mission, man, to find this dude's ex-girlfriend or friend that he wants to date. Then I watched American Graffiti, George Lucas, coming of age story, kind of semi-autobiographical. Really enjoyed it. Definitely, you know, in the same pulse of like Everybody Wants Some and Dazed and Confused, especially on Dazed and Confused. Like you even have how Matthew McConaughey is like the older cool guy who's like a, you know, eventually becomes a big name actor that's just kind of like driving around like all cool and suave. Kind of a loser in that movie because he's like an old dude trying to hang out with high schoolers. But it's like you got the parallel here with like Harrison Ford being that guy in this, where he's like the cool big name actor, or eventually becomes a big name actor. So it's fun looking back on, but just cool, fun vibes. Just like a nice, like, you know, end of high school, very nostalgic. The neon lights, very fun. Enjoyed it, and then watched The Sword and the Sorcerer, which is my first Albert Pyun movie, which Owen recommended to me when I tweeted saying I wanted something like fantastical to watch. And then I texted him after the movie telling him what like my favorite part was. And he's like, yeah, I've been meaning to watch it for a while now. I'm like, oh, you haven't even seen it. What the fuck? So,
that's why I questioned how did you end up watching this movie? Because I looked and no one had logged it that we follow on Letterboxd. So I was like,
yeah,
where did this come from?
Yeah, Owen recommended it on Twitter, but I guess he hadn't even seen it. But no,
I'm surprised if you asked him for a fantastical movie. I'm surprised he didn't recommend Ridley Scott's Legend. Honestly,
yeah, I don't know.
You've seen it,
maybe. Yeah, no, I don't know, but he's well, I guess it's in your watch list. Maybe you added to your watch list after you saw me watching it, so I don't know if it was previously.
I did.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's such cool practical effects in this. It's like a wild, horny movie with a bunch of just like jack dudes, but there's a moment in it that's just like a very practical effect heavy moment that I was like, holy shit, that came out of nowhere and was insane. But then after that, wanted to watch another one of his films, so I watched Captain America, the 1990s. It's the first theatrical release Captain America. There's a couple TV Captain America movies like a couple decades earlier, but this was like the first like studio made theatrical release Captain America film. And cool backstory behind the film too. Albert Pyun's like, there's like his like passion project, like his whole life he carried around like the film stock of the actual movie he made here. And it sounds like it was like a Snyder cut situation where like the film that we actually got was like completely different than the film that was shot and desired. And very few people have seen like the director's cut. So maybe one day it'll be digitized, but I would love to see it. There's a couple people on Letterboxd who have reviews of it that were able to like see like the exclusive screening of it, and sounds very different. But there's a lot of things I liked about it. Obviously, like in 1990, like there's just like the action set pieces can't really compare to like the visual effects that even the turn of the century was able to have. But and it almost felt more like a Bond movie, which again probably more due to you can kind of have like, you know, these mysterious like crime lord type people that are just like normal people, as opposed to like having again big CGI fantastical battles in 1990, especially when this movie's budget was completely slashed right before filming. But like the actual like human elements and the dialogue I really, really enjoyed. But I think the action pieces definitely suffered from the lack of budget and the lack of like technical ability to be able to put some of that stuff to the screen. But yeah, so it's cool. It's worth checking out. I think most people will really hate it. So if you're like only a fan of get like the MCU and are thinking like, oh, like Captain America, like the first one, let me check it out, like I want to see it, I think you're really not gonna have a good time. But if you kind of go into it to think like, all right, let's see what this like auteur from the 80s kind of had in his like his dream vision, kind of like what's his name? Billy Wilder was like loved making movies, but his passion project was always to make like a Sherlock Holmes film. It's almost like kind of like that, where this guy like made a bunch of cool movies and then decided, like Captain America is what he really wanted to make. But yeah, that's really all I've been watching this week. But yeah, I've been watching some Roland Garros tennis as well. Been solid overall. Not as many rain delays last year, so I'll commend him on that. The shout out.
I got it on right now.
For lunch. Nice.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but my volume just randomly skyrocketed to like 50.
I did hear that.
I quickly muted myself. I don't know how that just happened.
But supernatural spirits in your room.
Yeah, you guys just heard Swiatek smack a backhand.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to and what I've been watching. And same tone for both of them, just not a whole lot. But actually, compared to my last few weeks, watching 4 movies outside of podcast movies, that's like I'm like a true cinephile now. I've usually come on here saying like I've watched 1 movie this week, and there was like the Patreon review, and that's it. So there we go.
Nice. George, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, movie watching rate is like pretty much the same as Tyler. Like, I think I watched 5 movies this week, and that's a good pace, I guess, for what I've been, cranking out this year. That's probably like the biggest week I've had. Watched Treasure Planet, cute movie. I love like that old style of Disney animation. It's very cute. It's very whimsical, and I love this. Like, it's cool. Like the movie, like one of the first shots you see is like a couple of like ships, like sea ships, and you're like, oh, cool, ships. And then like the camera kind of like pans out, and you're like, oh, they're floating in the sky. Like, okay, I don't like that. It was cool. I didn't know what the movie was about. I feel like this is like one of those big movies that I like missed out on watching as like a child. Like, I think I gave it like a 3.5. I thought it was a cute movie, but everyone like kept like DMing me like, oh, like if you had watched this as a child, this would be an easy 5-star. It'd be like one of those like nostalgic films for you. And I was like, yeah, like I'm sure, but I never did. But it was cute for what it was. I was like looking for like an easy watch. And most of my watch list right now is like a lot of horror. Like I had put like all the Hellraiser movies on my watch list. I had put all the Predator movies on my watch list. So I was like, I really don't want to like I'm excited for Predator Badlands, but like I'm really not in the mood to start my like Predator watch through. Like I've only ever seen Prey. So I was like, all right, correct.
I'm surprised
so
you've been like, I feel like you've texted the group chat at least 2 or 3 times over the past like half year, and you're like, should I watch all the Predator movies? And we're like, I don't know. And then we never hear anything else. But it sounds like maybe you've committed. You're gonna watch them.
That's the thing. It is a commitment thing. It's like I don't want to commit to having to watch like 7 movies right now. Like I did that with the Resident Evil movies, and I liked the first one, and then I watched like 2 and 3, and they were like really, really bad. And I was like, well, damn, like now I'm like in it. Like I gotta at least finish the series. And I felt like I like forced myself to finish that franchise, even though I didn't want to. So like I don't want that to happen with like another franchise. I doubt it will happen with Predator. Like they seem like just fun hunting movies or whatever. But I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not ready to commit to a franchise yet, especially with the amount of TV we've been watching this year too. It feels tough to like commit to anything.
Yeah, and you got the Bear in a couple weeks too.
Yeah, the Bear's coming out in a couple weeks, so like that's gonna take over now that like The Last of Us is done. I said this a couple weeks ago. It feels like this year with TV, like once a TV show ends, another starts. It was like White Lotus. Then it was like Invincible. Then it was The Last of Us. The Bear's coming up. There's just like, it seems like every time a show ends, another one's going to start to like fill that time, which I'm not complaining about. I've been loving the TV we've been watching this year.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can deny that so far in 2025, at least like the first half, like TV has been kind of kicking movies' butts. Even though I haven't been watching a ton of these TV shows, but like just hearing how people talk about The Pit and TV's kind of like wiping the floor with movies for the first half of 2025, but back half of 2025, I don't know. I don't keep the pulse on TV, but I don't know a bunch of stuff coming out. I don't really know anything coming out that's like big back half of the year, whereas movies is about to be like, this is where movies are going to shine.
Movies is about to explode, but it seems like after The Bear comes out, I don't even know what's like slated in the TV world.
When's House of Dragon? Is that coming out this year? Or is that like 2027?
No, it's like 2026 or 2027. I
27.
those seasons.
Oh, we got Stranger Things, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, House of the Dragon, man, those first 2 seasons came out like seemed like on a good roll, and now why does it feel? I feel like it was only 2 years between the first and second season, but for some reason it feels like I haven't seen House of the Dragon in 10 years.
The amount of money they're putting into it is like crazy. It's just they've just ballooned the budget massively, and I think production wise they were hesitant because what they used to do is they used to do the production, then they'd go straight onto the next season production, like pre-production of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after the reaction to the first one, they were hesitant. But yeah, I think it's like 2027 early or maybe late 2026. It's a while.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like
damn.
2.5 years, maybe something like that, 3 years.
I feel like with HBO shows, we just have to like pre-program our minds to be like, okay, this season ends. We're not going to see the next one for 2 to 3 years. Like,
but every show now.
Yeah, even like every show, like Severance.
Except The Bear. That's why love or hate The Bear.
They're cranking
4 years,
out, man.
4 seasons. That's impressive.
Yeah, I love that. 4 years. I mean, in fairness, it's obviously a lot easier to film an episode of The Bear than it is like House of the Dragon. But yeah, 4 years, 4 seasons. That's sick.
Which sidebar about The Bear, real quick. I was watching a Cubs game the other day because one of my favorite things to do during work is just have a baseball game on. Because again, like I talked about earlier, I don't love baseball, but like just having like something on, like that's why I watch tennis a lot. Just having it on the side during work is just peaceful that I pay zero attention to. And there was Jason Bateman and Jason Bateman and what's the Red Guardian's name from Thunderbolts? David Harbour.
David Harbour.
They were at a Cubs game together, and the cameras kept like panning to them, and the older announcers were like talking about them a lot. But right next to him was Jeremy Allen White and Austin Butler, like sitting right next to him, and we're never acknowledged by the commentators because they're probably just like young and don't know who they are. But these old commentators kept talking about David Harbour and Jason Bateman. I'm like, bro, that's Austin Butler and Jeremy Allen White right next to him. Like acknowledge the clearly bigger stars right now. But
did you see that video of the two of them, of Jeremy Allen White and Austin Butler, where they were like in like a coffee shop and someone goes up to Jeremy Allen White and was like, "You look like Jeremy Allen White," and Jeremy Allen White's like, "Yeah, I get that a lot," and then they just walked away. I guess they don't have like. Nah, I mean they have to. If I saw them in the streets, I would absolutely know who they are.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say maybe they don't have recognizable faces, but there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Phantom of the Paradise.
Boo.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You'll hear thoughts on Friday if you're a patron. But
yeah, you'll get my full thoughts on Friday if you're a patron. But yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys about it because I want to know what everyone else in the world is seeing that I'm not. Like a couple minutes into this movie, I was like, oh, this okay, interesting direction. Okay. And then we get to the point where he like turns into the Phantom, you know, or at least I don't know if turns into is the right word or just like assumes that persona. And I'm like, okay, now it's getting a little corny. Like what are people? I'm excited to talk to you guys about this movie. Yeah. Okay. Cause I've been thinking about
Patreon if you're not already, because that's gonna be Friday's review. But yeah, I've seen a lot of one-liner reviews like mention like Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun. And I'm like, wow, kind of a fitting week to have that Patreon review. And
that's true.
They're in the news again. So look at us staying topical with we got our pulse on the pop crave who ReelTok baby.
Real pop culture is what we call ourselves.
Real pop.
But yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys about it because for a movie that, I mean, I gave it a 2.5. That's that for me that 2.5 has kind of like become like my neutral score. Like it certainly wasn't a movie I disliked, but it certainly wasn't a movie I like absolutely loved. I think I texted you guys like 45 minutes into the movie and I was like, this is very bad. That didn't hold true. That changed. The final sequence of the movie for sure like left me with a better taste in my mouth. But for a movie I didn't rate positively, it really it hasn't left my mind because I really am just trying to think like, okay, like what am I missing? Like what maybe went over my head? So I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. And if anyone is listening that's not a patron and you guys want to hear our thoughts on Phantom of the Paradise, check the links below.
But at least your Letterboxd followers weren't upset.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. My comment section was very peaceful. They were all like, "Oh, George, we understand." Someone commented, dude, people are so rude. Someone commented on that review. Hold on. Now I just remembered. Someone commented on that review. Just delete your Letterboxd at this point. So I go to this dude's profile, and I'm not trying to call out anyone. I go to this dude's profile. His last 4 watches, his last 3 watches, Thunderbolts, 4.5 stars. She-Hulk, 3.5 stars, and Wakanda Forever, 4 stars. So it's like, all right, we're gonna sit here and praise Thunderbolts and She-Hulk, but I can't have a relatively not positive opinion on Phantom of the Paradise. It's crazy. People are funny. But yeah, that should. I always love seeing comments where it's like, "Oh, bro, you're so wrong about this movie," and then I look at their profile and they have like Jack and Jill in their 4 favorites, and I'm like, all right, what are we doing? And then Bring Her Back, which I'll talk about shortly. And Kraven the Hunter. I don't know why I threw Kraven the Hunter on.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was like I like started the movie late because I was like I ate dinner and then I was like spending my night watching tennis highlights from the French Open of the matches I missed that day. So I was like, all right, it's like 9 o'clock, 9:30 now. I'm not really in the mood to like pay attention to a movie. So I threw on Kraven the Hunter. I ended up paying attention to it because I was more intrigued by like just it's like one of those like so bad it's good type of movies. And I hate to say that, like, because it's a bad movie. I did not enjoy my time with the movie, but like Aaron Taylor Johnson is good enough to like carry this shitty movie. Like he's just a cool presence. This is such a every time Russell Crowe was on screen, I laughed. It was that accent he was putting on was so funny. Every time Craven's brother Dimitri, Fred what's his name? Fred Hetchinger. Every time he like impersonated Russell Crowe's Russian accent, I was like actually impressed. Like genuinely,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was like actually impressive, like how spot on of an impression he was doing of Russell Crowe doing a Russian accent. But yeah, not a good movie. Hilarious, like wrap up of the Sony verse. It like I wish I could say it like feels like a culmination of like everything that went wrong with that like franchise or whatever you want to call it. But it didn't. It just kind of felt like just like another standard shitty entry, and that's kind of the last thing we're gonna have from it, I think. So yeah, that's it on what I've been watching. French Open, of course, watching a ton of tennis. It's nice at work having 3 monitors because I throw tennis on one of the monitors and I lock in. It's so cool. Got Rybakina and Swiatek on right now. I expect Swiatek to race through this match now that she's got the break in the third. And then, this should be a her and Sabalenka finale, which I'd be shocked if it was anything otherwise. And then Carlos on the men's side, I think he's still the favorite. But it's been a fun tournament on the men's side. I don't know if you agree, Tyler, but I just feel like there's been no like obviously Carlos is the favorite, like the overwhelming favorite, I'd imagine, but I feel like he hasn't been playing like the greatest of tennis for me to be like, yeah, he's gonna race through this tournament right now. And Carlos and Yannick had that 5-set epic at the French last year. So I'm hoping that we can get another Carlos Yannick. That was in the semifinals last year. Yeah, because then Carlos went on to beat Zverev in the finals. So hopefully we can get a Yannick Carlos first major final. I know a lot of people are waiting for that. So that'd be exciting. But yeah, that's been my week pretty much.
Nice. Do you want to do Be Right Back first or Phoenician Scheme?
I want to hear about your week and what you've been watching.
Yeah, dead ass.
I had a shit week. I did a nice event last night. It was cool with Netflix for the Tudum event. It was basically just like the hotel in London. It was pretty cool actually, like room service, a bunch of gifts that like correlated to different things. It was cool. It was a good event. It was nice. I think it was different than anything I've done before. Really good. It's like one of them as well. I'm not going to spend that much money on like a hotel like that ever in my life because why would I? So it was pretty amazing having that experience. So shout out Netflix for that. I went to see Stop Making Sense in the cinema last night, which is the concert film, Talking Heads. I love the Talking Heads, and that's the first time I watched it, and it was in a cinema, so that was really cool. Yeah, amazing concert film. Like truly, just the transition from like the first song to the last one is a genius. I watched Furiosa this week, so we watched that. Watched the Hayao Miyazaki and the Heron documentary, which is kind of on the background of the making of that. such an interesting person. So philosophical, like so crude as well. Really, really good documentary. I definitely recommend watching it. Watched a film called Hatchet because I saw one of the kills on Twitter and it looked cool. And that's it for me. I've not really watched much this week. Been busy, rammed with shit. Now we can move on. Phoenician Scheme or be right back first.
It's up to you. Do you want to take a break a little bit and let me yap about Bring Her Back, or do you want to just jump into Phoenician Scheme?
I don't mind, to be fair. Whatever you want. You go first.
Yeah, let me do Bring Her Back.
Okay.
Because like I said,
Are you doing spoilers?
I'll
do spoilers. Do some spoilers.
I'll do spoiler free, and then I'll see how deep I want to get. Because again, maybe it's just me. I feel like no one has been watching this movie except for like our small group of like film Twitter friends.
It's not out yet.
Yeah, so it's not even out in a lot of countries. So I'll do spoiler free, and if I really feel the need, I'll switch it up, and I'll obviously give you guys that spoiler warning if there's any like specific details that I want to talk about. Where is Bring Her Back? So I can grab the synopsis. Okay, Bring Her Back. The, I guess, polarizing surprise of 2025, directed by Danny and Michael Philippou, who they're the Australian YouTubers, I believe. I haven't done my due diligence on them, unfortunately. I like remember reading up about them after I had watched Talk to Me, and their background is just kind of escaping me. But this is their sophomore outing following Talk to Me, which was their highly successful, I guess, horror movie of 2023. And maybe highly is not the right word, but I certainly loved it. I know a lot of other people loved it. So this is their sophomore outing. Following the death of their father, a brother and sister are introduced to their new sibling by their foster mother, only to learn that she has a terrifying secret. This film stars Sally Hawkins, Sora Wong, Billy Barrett, and Jonah Wren Phillips, and then a bunch of other side characters and side actors. But those are the four, players that you are following throughout this entire film. Sally Hawkins, Sora Wong, Billy Barrett, and Jonah Wren Phillips. Spoiler free, starting just right off the bat. I like this movie. I had such a just dreadful experience watching this movie, as I did with Talk to Me, but not dreadful in like a way where like I'll never want to watch this movie again. Quite the opposite, actually. Dreadful in like a way where like I want to watch this movie again, and I want to continue to understand this screenplay better, and I want to continue to understand like why am I finding this so oddly touching, even though it's like some of the most grotesque and disgusting horror I've seen this year. So I really enjoyed my time with it. It was one of those theater experiences where I saw it by myself. And those are just the worst. Those are the worst theater experiences. And I mean that in a good way, where it's just like, it's like oddly like the best movie to watch by myself in a theater without anyone. Cause like it just makes it so much scarier. But I'm really liking what these two, Danny and Michael Philippou, are doing in the horror director chair. I think, like I said in my TikTok review, the one thing I just kept harping on is the fact that their horror, like visually, the imagery you're seeing, I'm not necessarily talking about the screenplay. I'm just talking about like certain sequences of horror that you're watching. It feels so inventive and so unique, and they're finding like new ways to make my stomach turn, which I don't really appreciate. It's disgusting. There is one particular thing that happens that I actually have not stopped thinking about since I watched the movie. And it involves a knife. So if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie, I won't spoil it, but it involves a knife. And there's a moment where the character is doing something with this knife. And not only what you're watching is gross, but like what you're listening to is also disgusting, because the sound design on some of this horror is so painfully piercing, and it's just like that. This one particular sound has not left my brain. I haven't been able to look at a knife the same since this movie, and it's absolutely disgusting. But the horror in this movie is gross, and it's more or less exactly kind of what you would expect following Talk to Me. But again, they're just finding new ways to make me squeamish. They're finding new ways to make me look at things around my apartment differently, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But the movie itself, and now we're going to focus a little bit more on like the screenplay and the actual contents of the movie. I'm not going to spend too much time on like the imagery of the film. I don't want to spoil any like particular like gross horror sequences, because I want you guys to be able to experience those firsthand. But the movie itself is so diabolical and so chilling and so visceral. You're taking on this really, I don't want to say meditative, it's more so just like it's like this twisted journey of obsession and grief, and you're diving deeper into the dark side of human nature, where within Talk to Me you were more so watching, I guess, like demonic possession. And it's very supernatural. Talk to Me. It's very haunting. Of course, they have that hand and they say, talk to me, and they get possessed. Whereas Bring Her Back is just more so on like the human experience and the dark side of that experience. And it's a movie about what a mother will go through. Is this a spoiler if I finish this sentence? It might be a spoiler. I'm forgetting what they showed in the trailer. But it's a movie essentially about motherhood and, the drastic measures a mother will go to protect her children, to bring her children back. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think that's in the trailer, but if it's a spoiler, then sorry. But it's a supernatural cultish movie. Throughout the movie, you're watching Sally Hawkins' character watch this tape on like what she needs to do for the devil to accomplish with this goal that she has. So it's very supernatural. It's very cultish, similar to Talk to Me. But like I said, it's a movie that more so dives into human experience and that darker side of human experience, and particularly that paternal instinct to just protect your children at all costs, to make sure like you can have your children with you. So it was such a, I also said this in my TikTok review. It's such like a sad movie, but like, which made it like a weird experience, because for a majority of this movie, I am grossed out. I am disgusted, especially the knife scene. And if you've seen the movie and you know what I'm talking about with the knife scene, please comment down below and let me know am I exaggerating how fucked that scene was? Like, I don't think I am, because I genuinely don't think that sound will leave my head. But no, it's such an interesting experience of a film, because I'm so grossed out. I'm so disgusted by what I'm watching, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that these filmmakers are making me feel this uncomfortable and this gross. But also, I cried at the end of this movie. Like the entire final 15 minutes, it's like it's beautiful in the most twisted way possible. It's like you just went on this crazy psychological journey. You feel tortured with what you've been watching. You feel tortured with this screenplay, the uncertainty of the screenplay, and somehow these filmmakers managed to get me to cry by the end of this film, because of just how strong they're portraying this mother's instinct and this mother's relationship to her daughter and these two foster kids that she's since adopted. So it's such a, I'll keep going back to it. It's such an intense psychological experience, but it's also just, it's so beautiful. And it's weird saying that this movie is beautiful. It's like such a weird word to describe it. And if you've seen the movie, I guess you more or less understand why, just because of what you're watching. But it is a beautiful movie, especially that final sequence. It's 15 minutes. It's in the rain. Sally Hawkins is, trying to accomplish her goal. She's trying to protect her daughter. You feel for this kid, Ollie, who, plays a huge let me pull up this kid's name, by the way. This kid, Jonah Wren Phillips. I'm not familiar with his filmography. It looks like he's been in 2 other projects, but this is his first like main feature film. This kid said like 3 words the entire movie and gave such a compelling performance. His face is going to be in my mind forever. He's a very creepy looking kid. I'm sorry. But he gave such a fantastic performance. He kind of plays this dual role between this. No, that's a spoiler. I'm not going to finish that sentence, nor am I going to get into his character and who he is. But he's bouncing back and forth a little bit. He's playing like this dual role, and he's just phenomenal. And since we're on the acting performances, every acting performance is phenomenal. Sally Hawkins is giving her just. I'm trying to think. I love her in the Paddington movies. I really love her in Shape of Water. So she's just given a really solid performance. And then Sora Wong and Billy Barrett, they're also fantastic performances, just all around great performances, which I think is what is helping like my case for, this movie just being as emotional as it is. There are certain moments between the brother and the sister that are just really heartbreaking and also heartwarming. There are some really awesome awesome is definitely the wrong word, but there are some really, heartbreaking and heartwarming moments between Ollie and the siblings. It's a very interesting experience. But it is this exploration of, the lengths that someone will go through in desperation. And it's you go into horror movies nowadays and you're like, okay, how is this movie going to touch on grief? How is this movie going to touch on loss? And you can kind of expect those to be like the general themes across these films. But this film kind of takes that just to a next step and goes into, the lengths that someone will go through in an act of love or in an act of desperation. I'm trying to make sure that what I want to say next is not a spoiler. But no, I don't think it's a spoiler. Sally Hawkins' character is, mourning a loss. And she her character just dives into the extremes of trying to bring that person back. And it's demonic, it's supernatural. There's this obsession with resurrections. There's these, it's such a gross look at the dangerous sides of humanity. How will we spend our humanity to kind of, accomplish a goal? What will we give up morally to accomplish a goal? And this movie really dives into those themes fairly well in a way that I think is going to stick with me for a long time. And like I said, that final 15 minutes, I think, just wraps up this film so beautifully. There's this one final shot of a movie, which I won't get into, obviously, because that would be a huge spoiler. And it's just a really heartbreaking shot. It's a really heartbreaking shot that I really, really enjoyed. Like I said, this movie made me tear up at the end. It was just one of those really raw and beautiful experiences in horror that I didn't quite expect. I didn't expect to have an emotional time with this movie, especially after Talk to Me, because I don't consider Talk to Me to be that emotional of a film. It's more of, this twisted supernatural journey you're being taken on. And in a way, Bring Her Back is the same. It's also this twisted supernatural journey you're being taken on, but this one plays around a lot more with a lot of psychological fear, and stomach turning torturous moments blended with these beautiful sequences of humanity and morality and brotherhood and sisterhood and siblinghood, for that matter. It's an awesome balance between those two, between psychological horror, physical horror, emotional horror. It's kind of taking everything that I love in horror and just blending it together really, really well to just kind of give me an experience that that was very worthwhile. It's turned out to be a very polarizing movie, which is a little surprising to me. And by polarizing, I mean it's excuse me, it seems to be generally more positive in its discourse, except for like our little circle of movie Twitter community. That's where it becomes a little more polarizing. So I'm very intrigued by that level of polarization. Why is the general public, why am I really enjoying this film? Why are a lot of my mutuals really enjoying this film? But also there are a lot of mutuals of mine that have rated this, 2.5 or a 3 or even lower. So it's a very interesting discourse going on with this movie, but I certainly fall on the more positive side of it. I certainly fall on the side of it that really wants to watch it again. I really want to experience this film again. I want to experience this film weirdly in the comfort of my apartment. I always say this, as much as I love horror movies, I always think horror movies are just better experienced in the darkness of my apartment, whether I'm by myself or with Victoria. But horror is probably like the one genre of film that I would just prefer to watch in my apartment as opposed to a theater, which is obviously something I would never say about, science fiction or action. But I really want to watch this movie again whenever it comes to streaming, and just, lower my shades, turn my lights off, light a candle, and just lock into this visceral torture. So I don't think I'm going to get into spoilers. I think I'll keep this relatively short, especially since, again, I don't think like a lot of countries have seen this movie, and I want to be respectful to our UK listeners who haven't watched this movie. And I don't want to spoil anything, because I do want you guys to experience this film firsthand and experience just this disgusting, emotionally painful movie, on your own. So yeah, I think that's where I'll more or less end it. I don't even know how long I've been yapping for right now. But I really enjoyed this film. Tyler's back. Hey, Tyler. I really enjoy this film. It is such a gross but beautiful experience in horror. I know Tyler and Cam will likely not watch it, so I'll just say I'm excited for Seth to watch it, to see kind of where he falls within the discourse of this movie. But like I said, it's a very generally adored film, except for like our small literal community of, movie Twitters, where that's where it kind of becomes a little more polarizing. But yeah, I'm really liking these two filmmakers. They're really slowly climbing my ranks of my favorite current working horror filmmakers. Talk to Me, bring her back within the span of 2 years. I think that's a really impressive filmography, and it's a really impressive debut and sophomore outing to a filmography. And that's 100% like more than enough to stick them on my radar. Although they were on my radar after Talk to Me. I really like Talk to Me. So they've been on my radar. So I'm very excited that they followed it up with something like this. They're pushing horror boundaries. They're giving me these new experiences that I just never thought I would have. They're giving me these new ways that, make me feel just absolutely terrified and disgusted. So yeah, I'm liking it. I gave this movie 4 stars. I'd be curious and keen to rewatch it, in the comfort of my apartment, where, like I said, I think that's just the best way to experience a horror movie. I wonder if you guys agree. Do you agree with that horror is a better genre experienced at home than in a theater?
I have 2 takes on that. One,
Tons.
I'm a wuss, so I like it better at home because I feel a little more comfortable than in a theater. But my second take is I think horror audiences are some of the most insufferable sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think every movie is just better on the big screen. Maybe like a stupid little comedy is just like better at home with friends. But
Yeah.
I would always prefer to watch a movie in a theater. But so many horror movie audiences are so like awful that like I would rather just be at home.
Yeah.
Even though I think the experience of watching the film's a little worse, I guarantee I would like Megan a 0.5 star or a star whole more if I watched that at home by myself. Like there's just no way I wouldn't, because that whole screening I was thinking about going Megan mode on everyone in that screening and just knocking people out. But no, I think I was trying to think with Talk to Me, because I definitely did not see that in a theater, but I obviously watched it. So I was like, how did I watch it for the pod? But I don't think I watched it for the pod. I think I watched it when it was nominated for our ReelTok Awards, and I was like going through our nominees before the voting. So yeah. Now you guys will do Phoenician Scheme. So for both of these two gentlemen were able to see it, so that's why they're going to review it this week, because I feel like it's better to be hot off the presses. But for those in America, it's not expanding wide until this upcoming Friday here. It's in New York and LA right now. It's in basically every international market. So because of that, we will let them review it. I could have watched a cam rip, but I didn't want my first experience with Phoenician Scheme. Trust me, there's movies out there I would happily watch a cam rip for the pod. Wes Anderson, even though I know it's getting mixed reviews and people aren't crazy high on it, I would rather watch it in theaters for the first time.
Yeah.
So you two can take it away, and
All
I
right.
will text me when you're back, because for Bring Her Back, I left my headphones on. For this one, I actually want to experience it, so I'm gonna take my headphones off.
That's
Enjoy.
fair. All right.
I got the just a synopsis. It says
it's not even a
story of
synopsis.
family business.
Yeah, that's
Does
not
Google have
even a synopsis. But you want to
maybe-
take it away, or you want me to start?
Hold on. Wealthy businessman Zaza Korda appoints his only daughter, a nun, as sole heir to his estate. As Korda embarks on a new enterprise, they soon become a target of scheming tycoons, foreign terrorists, and determined assassins. New Wes Anderson film off the back of Asteroid City in 2023. Like Tyler said, its release has been very weird. It is out in the UK. And obviously, George saw it because he's in New York, but it's been very weird. George, obviously kick off with like spoiler-free thoughts.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, so I should have mentioned this in the what have we been doing this. I feel like I didn't talk about my week at all. I just went straight to what have I been watching. But part of my week last week was going to the New York premiere of the Phoenician Scheme. It was at Jazz at Lincoln Center, which is where we also saw the premiere of Dune Prophecy. So really cool venue, really cool. Actually, no, I'm not going to lie and say really cool event. It wasn't that cool of an event. It was just literally just a screening. And then it probably would have been a cool event, but Alex and I, unfortunately, didn't get an after party invite. We only got an invite to the screening. So that was a kick in the nuts and really hit on our ego watching everyone leave and packed buses going to the party. And we're just calling taxis to go home. So that was funny. But no, so we went to the premiere. Wes Anderson's got, before I get into movie, Wes Anderson has motion, dude. This premiere, John Hamm was there. Ari Aster was there. Benny Safdie was there.
Isn't Ari Aster just like everything in New York? So
he's he goes to everything in New York. Paul Dano
like
was there.
Of New York.
Yeah. The whole cast was there, obviously. Steve Buscemi was there. The Marcel guy from SNL was there, which, I mean, that's more like a Scarlett Johansson thing. I'm sure she like invited some cast members from SNL, but yeah, like everyone popped out to see this movie. It was kind of crazy. It was so funny because like the theater, it's it's not like a standard movie theater. It's more of like a traditional jazz theater. But the back 2 rows is where they put all of the influencers. So it was literally like influencer row and then like everyone else in front of us. So it was so fun.
I've got that.
But yeah, we went to the premiere and we watched the movie. I went into this movie obviously a little more skeptical. I know you're very high on Asteroid City. I think you consider it Wes's best. I am on, as you know, the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I think Asteroid City is Wes's worst. And I'm saying the word worst is stupid because I don't even think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's as strong as, some of my favorite Wes films like, Tenenbaums and French Dispatch and Mr. Fox. But I went in with a little hesitancy just because of, his previous outing in Asteroid City. But also, early reviews were dropping, like you and a lot of other of our creator and reviewer friends.
I thought you watched it before me. Didn't you watch it before me?
No, you watched it like a day or two before me. So that your rating made me a little nervous because like, oh shit, like he loved Asteroid City. Like if
but then again, I didn't like French Dispatch very much.
Yeah, that's true. And I was reading what people were saying, like if you liked French Dispatch, this will probably be a film for you. If you didn't, it probably won't be. So luckily, I do love French Dispatch. That was my number 1 Wes film for a while until I rewatched Tenenbaums a couple of months ago. But yeah, I had a surprisingly really good time with the Phoenician Scheme. I really love Wes Anderson's like visual style. I think it really is. It's just so I'm not gonna dumb it down to he does the same thing every movie, but he does the same thing in every movie, but he kind of like it just always feels new. It always feels
Yeah.
refreshing, and it's just so much fun to like see like, okay, how is he gonna like perfect symmetry in this film? You know, how is he gonna make his film look so clean this time around, especially after Asteroid City, which I know a lot of people argue is his best looking film. You know, I still think Tenenbaums might be his best looking film just because I'm more attracted to like that fall aesthetic. But yeah, he manages to like just every movie just take his visual style to the next level and just give us something new. You know, this movie, you know, he does that cool overhead shot with all the shoe boxes. It's very cool. He does the cool, like there's that whole basketball sequence which is just shot very funny. You know, it's so interesting the way he like shoots his movies. And I mean, we can talk to Owen and K Meeks about this, but I'm sure Wes Anderson is the type of guy that like college professors in film will just advise you to study and just learn more about, because he's so fantastic. Just the way he plays around with shapes and designs and symmetry. It's awesome. And I really enjoyed it in this movie. I love the aesthetic of this movie. I think it was a little not cleaner, but I think it gave me more visuals to really like latch onto than like that of Asteroid City. But typical with Wes, you know, he's weaving together themes of, you know, existentialism. This time around, he's doing, you know, some familial chaos, some familial ties, you know, which he does in every movie. But I love the paternal relationship in this one between father and daughter and uncle and daughter, you know, between Phoenician Scheme and Bring Her Back this week, too. Obviously very different movies, but two movies that touch on that like paternal instinct and that paternal relationship. And it's just something I really like in film. I think it's really cute. I think it's really adorable, especially in the Phoenician Scheme. And if it's done well, it's something I'm going to really like find myself attracted to. He's just as whimsical as he's ever been. I think Benicio del Toro is just such an awesome person to like put this movie on the back of. I think he's really, really good in this film. And then even beyond Benicio del Toro, Mia Threppleton, who's Kate Winslet's daughter. I mean, she is just fantastic. Like, she genuinely blew me away. She is so reserved in this movie. Like, I don't want to say she's not doing anything special, but she's so calm, she's so collected, but every line of dialogue out of her mouth like garnered a reaction from me. And I think she's so stunning. And I'm, like I said, I love that back and forth between her and Del Toro. I think they work off of each other really, really well. You know, he's touching back to Wes Anderson. You know, he's always kind of including familial chaos in his films. He's always including, you know, existentialism in his films. He's including a lot more themes of legacy in this movie, which I think. So when we left this screening, Seth, literally Victoria and I turned to each other, and one of the first things we said to each other was, "I'm so surprised Seth didn't rate this higher." And it's beyond like obviously the appearance of the movie and how it is very like Asteroid City coded here and there, but also I just feel like, you know, as we get older, you know, like themes of legacy and themes of like this existentialism that Wes Anderson explores, I feel like those are, you know, that's something he explored in Asteroid City, which you very much loved, and he's doing it again here. Obviously, very different stories between the two movies. It's not enough to just slap these themes on these movies and, you know, think that you're going to like it just because of that. Obviously, very different stories. So maybe that's a big aspect of why you didn't love it as much as Asteroid City. But for someone like me who didn't love Asteroid City, I think I'm more surprised that I came out of this very positive, because I do think that these two movies are very similar in their themes. I think, you know, both of them obviously have these phenomenal casts. Both of them have these, you know, trademark, you know, visuals from Wes Anderson. You know, this movie particularly touches a little bit more on tradition and modernity, and in it was just an experience I had a really good time with. Not a scene went by where I wasn't like, oh, I enjoyed that scene. I really like that scene. Michael Cera is so funny.
It was funny.
It was one of those. Everyone kept saying like, how have we never gotten a Michael Cera, Wes Anderson collab? Like that it feels so obvious. I was on the other end of that, I think, where I was like, I think a Michael Cera, Wes Anderson collab is going to be a little too annoying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was so funny. He really adapted himself to like a Wes Anderson environment so well. So yeah, I mean, I'll turn it over to you. I know I've been yapping for a little bit, but I really like this movie. I think I gave it a 3.5, and I think it has the potential to even go up on it. I really enjoyed the performances. I really enjoyed this film's look at tradition and legacy, and then he's bringing in a bunch of themes from his previous films and kind of throwing them into one screenplay. I really like the story. I really like this journey that we kind of take. It's kind of like you're going from point A to point B to point C, trying to like rally everyone together. And then by the end of it, they're all together and everything unfolds very chaotically. That final scene with Cumberbatch and Del Toro, it's so funny. It's so stupid. It's so silly. But it works in a Wes Anderson film where it never feels corny or to like cringe. You kind of watch something like that unfold. These two characters are fighting, and they're fighting in like a very cartoonish way, but it's cartoonish in a Wes Anderson way where it's like, oh, this works. This is cool. Yeah. But like, if you saw that type of fighting in like a fucking and any other filmmaker, you'd be like, oh, this is a little corny, but like it's Wes Anderson. So he pulls it off. But yeah, I liked it. I ended on a 3.5. I think it's a deeply introspective journey, which is something we could expect from Wes. But it's a movie that I think just balances that humor and that familial chaos and heartbreak so well, like really, really well. I love his quirky style of filmmaking. And I think this movie just comes together really well. Certainly not my favorite Wes, certainly not a film that I think is going to leave that lasting impression on me the way something like a Tenenbaums has, where I think about Tenenbaums every single day. But for post Asteroid City Wes Anderson, I really enjoyed this.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, like I echo a lot of what you're saying. I think that like you are right in that it's very like natural progression for him. He's in a stage of his career right now where he is kind of going down that route where a lot of his films are focused on legacy and how he'll be remembered. And that's kind of, he emphasized in this using Benicio del Toro's character as like the anchor for that, especially within the sequences and like the Heaven's Gates and whatever with like, Willem Dafoe and co. It really, really emphasizes that. And it really goes down to, how someone will be remembered and their kind of arc and chance for redemption of previous sacrifices. I love the cast. I think that, again, it's got kind of the usual Wes Anderson properties that I really, really enjoy. I think it feels fresh. I think there were a lot of fresh names in this. I wish we saw more of Riz Ahmed as well. I thought he would have a bigger role. A bit disappointed in that just because I love him so much. I love the introduction of Michael Cera. I think Mia Threppleton, really, really cool as well. She was really good. I actually really enjoyed her. Benicio del Toro, I think they always have these moments, and Richard Ayoade as well as kind of like the almost Che Guevara-esque figure. Great. The only I think generally speaking, I really like films like this where they are kind of reflective on like a director's career and life, as this is, as Friends Dispatch was, as Asteroid City was. The only issue with this for me is I just didn't find it that interesting for the first half. Like I was quite bored for the first half. Whether that just being contextually what the film is and what it entails, I think this kind of way of describing it, where you've got kind of the almost rise and fall and that kind of redemption at the end, where it's a satisfying moment and a familial moment, that didn't really do it for me for the first sort of half. Surprisingly so, because the last thing I usually am during Wes Anderson films is bored, other than maybe one and two here and there. It really, really picks up for me during kind of the middle half, especially after the last 45 minutes when the plane crashes and spoiler, I guess. Spoiler.
Yeah, are you talking about Michael Cera? Because yes.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, put the spoiler tag on. Actually, put the spoiler tag on. Can you put the spoiler tag on? You can't.
Yeah, I
Right?
can put this.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Um,
Pause. Spoilers. Okay, spoilers ahead for
right,
the
cool.
Phoenician Scheme.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a big turning point for me. I think Michael Cera as a presence in a Wes Anderson film works really well. So obviously he's kind of introduced as was he
A
Norwegian
bug
or
ex,
Swedish?
a Swedish bug expert.
Swedish bug expert, which is just mental and has some really, really funny moments. And he
I love
is
not to interrupt you,
sorry.
but before
Yeah.
you get to the spoiler, I love like the Swedish bug. I love like for the first like 15 minutes of this movie, he is literally just sitting in the back
in the
corner of
corner.
this mat, and every so often he just pops his head out and he's like, "Doo-doo-doo," and I was like, "What the fuck is he doing back? Is this gonna be him the whole movie?"
Yeah, it was. It's really interesting. I did like the introduction to each character and kind of the way they come together and the explanation of Zaza and where he's at, Benicio del Toro's character. But up until the point of probably just before this, but the real big turning point for me in terms where I really started to enjoy it was where the plane crashes and it's kind of the reveal that he is kind of essentially a spy this whole time and kind of investigating them and then kind of double crosses, like ends up he kind of gets involved in the family and double crosses his own motivations from the start.
Hysterical. Sorry.
What are you gonna say?
About when he like walks away, turns around, and then like unties his tie.
His hair's like messy.
Yeah, messes his hair up and turns around and just goes, "Hello," or whatever he stupidly says. He's so funny.
I like that a lot, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the film's themes. But that was kind of where the film became a lot more gratifying because for a lot of the first half, it just kind of felt quite cold to me. Like the emotional notes just weren't really hitting as much as usual with a Wes Anderson film.
It moved quickly.
It's just say again.
It moved very quickly, which is what I will say. That I think that's what holds my rating back a little bit on that first half is you are so like quickly put into this situation where, okay, he's going to give his fortune and whatever to his daughter. He's trying to build or do whatever with this Phoenician scheme. And you move from, point A at his house to point B with Jeffrey Wright to point C with Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston. You move from scene to scene very quickly. And I think that does kind of remove a little bit of the emotional weight of that first half. Because a lot of this movie is built on that core relationship between father and daughter. And I think this movie just moves too quickly for its own good, where there are moments where you feel like we're overlooking that relationship.
Yeah, I think it's building it as well because again, like the whole theme of the film is redemption. We see that kind of at the end when he kind of goes from everything to nothing financially, but not.
I love that, man. I love that.
I do like that.
Yeah, I loved it. It's just like this small little. I think it's such a. I mean, I don't know if this is what Wes Anderson was going for, but like my immediate takeaway from that final sequence is you could have everything and you could have nothing and you can be happier in the latter. You could be happier with nothing. Like Benicio del Toro's character like just looked so much more alive in that final sequence. He's in the shack. He's chefing up some food, doing the dishes. He's playing cards with another spoiler, technically his niece. But he's playing cards with her after she accepted marriage from Michael Cera. Like it was just a really like wholesome way to end this movie, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of that sacrificial thing because I think the point of this is he is like turbo capitalist chasing the big next kind of move and disregarding those around him. And again, the encounters kind of he runs into and over time throughout the film, it does get a bit more familial for him being more of kind of a person rather than just this straight up single-minded person on one venture. And that's kind of his sole goal for it. I don't know. For some reason, the first half just kind of felt a bit mundane and cold and not quite as like. Wes Anderson, I think what he exceeding so well is he succeeds in escapism and using like visual motifs to really help you escape into like essentially like another world, into his world. It just didn't really work for me for the first like hour or so. But after kind of the plane sequence, I love the final act. I think his kind of I guess disputes with Benedict Cumberbatch's character I really liked as well. Again, fits the theme, and again that kind of sacrificial language of being somewhere when you are somewhere and not being somewhere, and then actually achieving fulfillment in life and having a remembrance over just kind of legacy and wealth in a particular workplace and finding that, and also like just going through a life of essentially terror, because kind of what you see, I don't know when this is at the start, like on the plane, where the guy is just like, was this on the start when they're on the plane and the guy just gets like blown out of the plane? Yeah, crazy. Like the whole plane just like capsized and he has to like fly it down essentially. So it's almost like not allowing us to live that life and just settling for lesser in that situation, in importance of remembrance from family members. But yeah, like I definitely didn't hate it. Like I think it's a cool film for sure. Like the second half really worked me down, because I think it works better with Wes's classic like quirkiness and his properties. I just think the first half it's one of them where I don't really have like a thing where I'm like, thematically it makes sense. I think it's a progression in Wes's career that makes sense. After I saw Titty, it makes perfect sense. It's kind of boring for me. That was like that's kind of the main criticism in the first half. I was just kind of bored.
Yeah. I have a question and then I have a follow-up question depending on your answer to my first question. Do you think this, compared to every other Wes Anderson film, do you think this movie plays out more as like a stage play than like a film?
Yeah,
I feel like the way every scene is constructed and the way we move from piece to piece is very much like a stage play as opposed to like a film, which obviously has always been like a tribute of Wes Anderson's filmmaking, but I feel like it's so much more apparent, which is another reason why I'm surprised I came out of this liking it as much as I did, because I'm not typically like a Broadway stage play fanatic.
Yeah, I think they're quite like stylized. I mean, look at like Asteroid City as a play within a play. That's like the whole thing, and it's like thematically he puts that in there in terms of exploring art on a further level. And I think almost they would work that way. And I think when you look at Wes Anderson films, especially like this one, in terms of like the close quarters sets, it does feel that way. When they're in, I think inside buildings, especially, there's certain moments like Grand Budapest Hotel you can obviously revert to that feel the same way. So yeah, I definitely understand why you think that for sure. It'd be interesting if he like. It would actually be interesting to fucking see him write a stage play. He probably win like a Pulitzer Prize, whatever.
Well, that's what I think makes Wes Anderson so like fascinating. Is that like every time I watch one of his movies, I think to myself, I'm like, this dude wants to direct a play. I don't know why he's doing film. Like, just get him to New York and throw him in Lincoln Center and like let him direct a fucking stage play. Like, I feel like he's like a Broadway director at heart that somehow just found himself on a movie set one day.
I think it's just like his intricacies in like developing this. I mean, production about like the thing that I found really fascinating about Wes Anderson as well is like, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier in terms of like how beloved he is, not just by like, the general audience, but by actors.
Yeah,
the budgets on his films are never that high.
No,
and he has the craziest cast who are just there for like a few lines most of the time.
Well, everyone talks about him the way, you know, you have people talking about like Terrence Malick, where people are like, I don't care what I'm making. I don't even care if I'm not in the movie. I just want to go and experience like a Wes Anderson set or a Terrence Malick set. Like, I just want to experience what it's like being around these dudes when they're filming their movies.
Which is wild, because I think like it doesn't happen much directly. I think Asteroid City, for example, obviously the cast of Asteroid City was crazy. They had people like Margot Robbie who had like a 5-minute segment.
Yeah,
and then the sets were so much bigger in scope than we'd seen previously. I think it was like 20 million, which for today's like day and age is
it's nothing. Yeah,
and I think that's around the same,
especially for someone as credible as Wes Anderson. Like, that's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I think you can tell that like Scarlett Johansson in this. I forgot she was even in this.
Dude, she was in 0 scenes.
Well, she was in more than like Willem Dafoe and fucking Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Nothing.
True, but like they advertised Johansson the way they advertised like Zendaya in Dune Part 1, and she had like
and then
3 sequences where she marries someone.
they do like proper when they're in a Wes Anderson film, they do really like. I think actors, no matter how small and big the roles are, they do really bury themselves into that character. Like kind of what I noticed. Like even Scarlett's like small moment, like she was really there for it.
Yep.
Because
I mean,
you've got to imagine as an actor, it's got to be fucking hard to adapt to his style.
Yeah, that's got to be such like that's got to be such a crazy culture shock to go, especially for someone like for Johansson. It's got. I mean, I'm not going to say easy, but like she's worked with Wes before.
Yeah,
but,
and also she's done like a lot of
but cool for like Michael Cera, like what was Michael Cera's last movie before the Phoenician Scheme? Hold on, I'm going to find
Barbie.
Was it Barbie?
Yeah, it's got to be
Phoenician Scheme.
I can't think of it. He's not really done much because he kind of fell off.
Yeah, I mean, Barbie was his big movie. He was in this thing called Sacramento, which no one
never heard of it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, imagine going from like a Greta Gerwig Barbie production to a Wes Anderson Phoenician Scheme production.
To be fair, like in Barbie, I think the big positive was the physical sets they used. So this is that. Do you know what I mean? Like also. Michael Cera was quite just weird in that film anyway.
Right.
I'd be keen to because I think that I would be keen to see Michael Cera, and I'm sure he will get it. I think I saw like an interview with Wes Anderson speaking about how much he loves him and stuff.
I expect this to be the first of many Wes Anderson Michael Cera collabs.
Do a lead. Because I think he has that. I think he's really funny and self-aware, and he can do the switch up as well. Like he is really good.
Dude, he wasn't just like Michael Cera good in this movie. He was really and I don't mean that derogatory. But
no,
like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
He was like good. Like he was hilarious as the Swedish tutor. And then even the moment he flips back into the spy persona, he was still funny. Like he was good in this movie, like surprisingly good. Switch up the topic a little bit. One other reason why I also was, and again, you didn't even rate this like negatively. You gave 3 stars, so like you have the very
least, it's fine.
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking as if you gave this like a half star. But another reason why I'm surprised you didn't give it or like it a little bit more were the sequences in heaven, like the Willem Dafoe. All like that was. I feel like that's like a level of like experimenting in a Wes Anderson film that we don't typically see, like I feel like he like there were so many like quick flashes characters appear, you're drenching everyone in like this white cloth. It's very it's like those are the most important sequences in the movie when Wes Anderson wants to convey these themes of legacy. And I was watching those and like, oh, like that's new. Like this is something very new for a Wes Anderson movie. These are sequences that Wes Anderson doesn't typically like he's never like cut back and forth between, reality and the fantastical, the way he does in the Phoenician Scheme with cutting back and forth between reality and everything that goes on in heaven.
We could argue Asteroid City as well with the theater play.
Yeah, with the theater play, I guess in Asteroid City he's bouncing back and forth. But like, there's such a clear like stylistic shift when he's directing the film, the Phoenician Scheme, and then directing the heaven sequences. Like it didn't even feel like a Wes Anderson film. It felt like something completely different. Like he's transporting you to a completely different world, like in the mind of what's Del Toro's character's name? Zaza. Like it felt so like different, which I really enjoyed those sequences. I was watching them and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is new. This is not something I would have expected from a Wes Anderson picture.
Yeah, I think it like that. There was a big change, I think, from like, let's say, what was his film before French Dispatch? Let me get up. Was it Isle of Dogs, maybe?
No, I think it was Grand Budapest. No,
that was 2014. Isle of Dogs was definitely after that, I think.
Oh yeah, Isle of Dogs. You're right, and then Grand.
So Budapest. I think, and then French Dispatch. Yeah. I think there was like a clear change. If you watch like a Royal Tenenbaums or a I don't know, Rushmore, for example.
Yeah.
Or there is a real switch up in terms of how he's approaching his career now, and it's defined by those moments, like the ones you just said in Heaven, like the theater sequence Asteroid City. And I think, regardless of me not loving this one and French Dispatch, I find them more interesting to speak about in a way because there's more going on. French Dispatch especially had like so many different moments in there. I think there was a real switch in like, regardless of like I guess a straightforward narrative that he portrays in like a Rushmore, for example. There are these kind of more experimental sequences that really explore like legacy in a more fun way. Like I do like the Heaven sequences in this a lot. I almost wish there were more of them at times.
Yeah, me too.
And it is interesting. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this. I've just noticed this. This is really weird. This is so weird. What? Also, we didn't speak about like the shorts as well, like the ones you just did, like the Henry Sugar, Wonderful Life of Henry Sugar, and
haven't seen them.
Oh, bro, like the Henry Sugar one, the one with
I know. I need to watch them.
That's genuinely really fucking good. Like, I think
that one was nominated for a short at the Oscars, right?
Yeah, that one. I wasn't as high on the other ones. As one I thought was really good. The other one was like okay, but that one specifically was like great.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was saying was
film. This thing is an hour and a half.
No, that's the making of you're looking at.
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
Oh no, read the description. That's all four of them in one.
Oh, that's all four of them.
The actual one I think is 39 minutes, so it's just under.
Oh yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. What I was saying was, so Wes Anderson has made how many films? Like
a lot.
10,
1,
11,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Actually,
12.
Ignore me. I was about to say a fact, but the fact is just completely untrue, so it doesn't matter anymore.
12.
Never mind. I was going to say that they're all like 100 minutes, but they're not.
They're not.
No, but his last 5 have been though, so that's interesting. I almost think this could have been a little longer for me at times.
How long? This was like an hour and 40, right? Yeah, about.
Yeah, but they're all like an hour and 40, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all around that time. Right? That's prime Wes Anderson time.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I still enjoyed it. I'm keen to see what he does next. He's very. I mean, what's he doing? Like 2020, 2018, 2021, 2023, 2025. We expect another one in a couple of years, maybe.
Yeah,
he's not old either, is he?
He's not old at all, dude.
How old is
he?
He's
A young man.
I think he's one of them that looks.
He was born in.
Or he's 56.
He's 56. This man's going to crank out 15 more movies in the next 13 years.
It's actually, kind of wild how many he's done already. But yeah, first off, for me, thought it was cool. I didn't love the first half of it, and then 3.5 for you, did you say?
Yeah, 3.5 for me. I mean, I liked it like throughout. Like I said, certainly not a Wes Anderson film I'll be thinking about the way I do with like Tenenbaums, but for the experience I had.
Where it comes in your ranking?
Let's see. Tenenbaums would be 1 for sure. French Dispatch, I would throw it 2. Mr. Fox would be my 3. Tenenbaums, French Dispatch, Mr. Fox. I think I'd go Moonrise Kingdom at 4. I think I'd go Grand Budapest at 5. Isle of Dogs at 6.
You're not a Darjeeling Limited fan?
I was about to throw either Phoenician Scheme or Darjeeling Limited at the 7 spot. So I'll call like those 7 and 8 interchangeable. And then Rushmore, Life Aquatic, and Asteroid City, I would throw at like the bottom 3, I would say.
So I think I'd go like.
But again, I haven't seen a couple of these in a while.
I'd probably put it in 9th above Bottle Rocket and the French Dispatch, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But it was cool. It was cool.
A solid filmography, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to text
Yeah, I just texted Tyler. Cool. I think he's got a game for us that the patrons made, apparently. I think there's...
Oh, is that time for that?
I don't know. I don't know what this game is. Tyler's text.
Patrons made the game?
Yeah, he said he's got a... I think he said he has a game for each of us that the patrons made.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm keen to see what these games are. Next week we're doing, just to fill time. Next week we're doing, I think, the John Wick episode, which I will be missing, unfortunately, and I'm very sad about that.
Wait, is Ballerina next week?
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm seeing it on Wednesday, June 4th. Yeah.
I was going to say on Wednesday.
I'm going, Seth. Alex and I are going to the Tribeca Film Festival on Thursday to see a re-release of Casino with a Q&A with Scorsese and De Niro.
Wow. Where's that?
So, Tribeca Film Festival, downtown in Tribeca.
So, is that? Yeah, I know the film festival. Yeah. I didn't realize it was this early.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. Have you seen it before?
No, I've never seen Casino.
Oh shit, man, it's so fucking good.
Yeah. So that's an exciting first experience to have for Casino.
For sure.
I went to the film festival last year. This is where I saw the Roger Federer documentary.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah, Casino's fucking good, man.
Yeah, what is this? 95 Scorsese? This is prime Scorsese right here.
Well, it's like people call it like the lesser version of Goodfellas, to which I disagree. But
it's better than Goodfellas.
How
better than Goodfellas?
No. How dare you? Do not hold yourself to those expectations, George.
Yeah, but I don't think Tyler, you don't love Goodfellas though, right? What are your thoughts on Goodfellas?
It's like a 4-star, maybe
okay.
4.5. I don't know. I'd say don't love is a stretch, but
okay.
Do you want to do the game?
Yeah, what do we got?
Do you guys want to do the game?
Yeah, we'll do the game.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready to game.
We will see how this goes. Let me share this screen.
Trust.
All right. So shout out to Ace, one of our patrons, for putting this together. He sent me this months ago, and the plan was to do it when all 4 of y'all were here, or all 4 of us were here, and we know that's been few and far between this year. There's a couple other things we still have to do when we have all 4 of us, like Cam has to do his punishments for losing the drafts last year, so we have to choose what his letterbox top 4 is going to be in a end review. But we have to wait till he's back for that. But this one, I think we can still do with 2 people. It's framed. You guys have played it before, but this is put together by Ace. So there's going to be 5 different frames of a movie, and whoever guesses it first wins. I think I have 4 movies total, so there's going to be 4 total rounds of this. Each movie has 5 pictures. Just basically blurt out the answer when you think you have one. I'd say, I don't know how we want to do it. Maybe we'll say you each get 1 guess per round. So
if you get it wrong,
how we did it. But you only get 1 guess per round. But
I'm gonna start screaming movie names.
Round as in there's like 5 pictures. So once I show the first picture, you can have a guess. But I put this together while you guys were doing the review because he sent me them through Discord DMs and I put them into this slideshow. They're pretty tough pictures. So it's not one where I think like.
Have we seen the films? Do you know that?
Yeah, you've both seen all of these.
Okay.
But yeah, they're pretty tough. Or at least I think they are, to get not the films, but the images. So we'll see how this goes. And he sent me like 10 movies total. I only have 4 of them in the slideshow, so this will be a good little tester to see like if you guys like it, if the audience likes it, then I can put the other films he has sent me into a slideshow. We can keep doing them going forward. So here's the first film, first image, first frame of the first film.
Forrest Gump.
Not Forrest Gump. George, you got anything?
Nope.
Do you mean Nope by Jordan Peele or Nope?
Oh, no. I was saying like, no, I don't have anything.
Well, okay. Well, so you each get a guess per round. It is not.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was going to say, let me still guess no. Because Tyler's
like, it isn't the worst. Like,
yeah, Tyler, your face kind of lit up for a second. I was like, wait, did I just clip that?
No. Next.
Paris, Texas.
Not Paris, Texas.
Fuck.
There's a very visual game, by the way, for people listening on their Spotify. Yeah. We do have the video versions on Spotify, but
I feel like I recognize that, but I don't know.
If you're driving or something right now, just skip ahead.
I've definitely seen this before.
Well, like I said, you've both seen all these movies, so you definitely have seen it before.
Yeah.
You have seen this movie.
I don't have a guess.
All right. Next frame.
What? Is this
obvious?
Is this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
It is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
And to Seth's question, I don't think any of these are obvious. I would be next, which the chili and the smoke.
Yeah.
And this one being the
I would
sheriff.
have got it from the feet.
The feet,
So,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
But Once Upon a Time in
Alright.
Hollywood is correct. So
Yeah,
George
that's-
1, Seth 0. There's 3 more.
Hey!
I should have guessed on the first one. Now looking back.
Next film.
Oh, Knights of Cups.
Not Knight of Cups. I like
Shit.
that. Got anything, George?
I don't. I'm trying to see if I can like see who this man is in the picture, but I don't even think that's a thing I should be looking at. I have no idea.
I think Ace likes retro diners.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Manchester by the Sea.
Not Manchester by the Sea.
Oh dear.
I feel like I'm honestly a little annoyed we didn't get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from the diner or whatever that thing was, because like I feel like these are so obvious.
Yeah, that's.
What does that sign say? West Hot Pancakes.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen all the movies too. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
any of these are obvious. So
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not gonna.
I don't recognize that.
next image. A man putting
Oh man, I really
cleaning his
recognize
teeth, putting stuff on his teeth.
I really recognize that. I don't know where it's from.
I do not recognize this. I feel like I'm getting like
No,
bones
I
and
re-
all vibes.
Not bones and all. Seth, you got anything before the next image?
Can I look at the last picture again, please? Is that allowed?
Yes. This was the previous one, and this is the one before. So you got this.
Leave
and
that.
then-
Leave that.
It's the change up of the vibes between pictures is really throwing me off. Like, why are we going from a shipyard to a retro diner to a?
I might have to skip.
All right, next image.
It's
Hitman.
fuck.
It is Hitman. Interesting. I was gonna say if you didn't get it from the first diner, I don't know why this image of the diner would give it.
I don't
but yeah,
remember
I
that
guess
secret,
the
that
danger.
teeth thing in Hitman.
I don't remember the
actually.
teeth thing either.
Yeah, it's one of his disguises, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't really remember this.
I don't remember that at
either.
all.
What the it has to be a part of like one of those like. Remember in the movie there was like the montage of like the 8 like
yeah, I'm sure.
quickly did the
Disguises.
disguises.
And that would have
Yeah,
been the
that
last one. Hitman.
absolutely would have given it away.
I'm really bad at this.
2 for George. We got 2 films left. But again, remember, if you like this game, if you're playing along at home and you want more, I have a lot more loaded up that I could prepare for next week. So
I mean,
first image of the next movie
son.
is not Sun.
No,
Seth, yeah.
that wasn't a guess.
The Witch.
this is just woods.
Not the
dude.
Witch.
Knock at the Cabin.
Not Knock at the Cabin.
No, I like it.
Next image.
I really thought I had that. Is this
Glorious Bastards.
Not Glorious Bastards, but that's exactly where my mind went immediately first when
Oh.
I was looking through my Discord DMs on these. Looks very much like the opening.
It does,
sequence.
doesn't it? Yeah, those are the opening bit.
I'm weirdly getting like I don't know, Wolfman.
Not Wolfman. The 3 people who saw it. I don't know if Ace is
Yeah.
one. Of the 3. Me and you are the other 2. Next image.
Elvis.
Not Elvis.
That's not Elvis.
Oh no, this is oh my god. This is stop right now. This is Avengers Age of Ultron.
It is. I was gonna.
Well, I've-
this one was more of a Cam George.
Oh, I'm never
Yeah.
gonna fucking get that. I don't remember that scene.
okay.
What? Who is that from
Elvis.
That's Steve Rogers.
Elvis?
Oh yeah, I would have
Not
never got
Elvis.
that. I would have
The
guessed it
way
right.
you sent this to me was like with spoiler tags in the Discord, so I was revealing them each myself while you were doing this. And when I got to this, I was like, "Is like Alita Battle Angel, or is this like Ex
Yeah, I wouldn't-
Machina?"
I
But
don't-
that's
I don't
probably
remember
Black
this.
Widow. I
Okay,
imagine.
that was a good one,
That's-
kind of.
Age of
I wouldn't even
Ultron.
go from
Okay,
that.
Final one. First image.
Well, I recognize that.
Mulholland
Wrecking for a Dream.
Drive.
Damn, George, how the fuck you get Mulholland Drive from that shit?
That's
I mean,
insane.
come on, son. That's like
I
the
wouldn't
most
even
like.
go from that.
That's
Because when I was
so
putting this together, I was
iconic.
like, okay, Age of Ultron clearly gonna be more leaning towards George. But I was like, okay, Mulholland Drive, we'll pull it back in. But I haven't you only seen this movie once, and it was a while
Yeah,
ago?
Seth's just not as big a David Lynch fan as I am. I don't know what to tell
Might
you.
be true. I've literally seen that film twice in the past like year as well. That's crazy.
See, if anyone doubted George's trivia $10, this is a movie that he's watched once a long time ago, and he gets it off this frame alone.
I mean, that's a
This-
good. That's
It is a big frame.
like.
to
I
be
think.
fair.
I think that
should-
first flame is easier than the next like 2 you pulled up.
No,
this
it's
one
not next.
is
It's not
easy.
easy in the phone.
That
Yeah,
is
the
Oh, wait, that
phone.
is 2.
This
Like, I
one
don't
I feel
know.
like is.
That's quite
That
easy.
I could
phone's
say
gonna
this is like
be-
song to song.
Phone's easy.
But
I don't know.
this is like anything in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Phone, yeah, there's definitely David. This one obviously gives it away, but
Yeah.
very impressive. Mulholland Drive. But yeah, like I said, I have a ton more in my DM. So if you guys want to see more of this, and again, Ace, shout out you. You sent this to me in February, and we're finally getting to it.
Shout
But
out Ace.
yeah, there you go. Framed. Let us know if you want to see more of that. But yeah, that'll do it for our little game. Now we can get into trailers, movie news.
I mean, may as well go into like the fucking Netflix shit, I guess. We got a Tudum. We've got a teaser for Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Don't know if you guys watched it. Looks cool. Looks cool.
Looks cool.
Looks like smaller scope, which I like.
Yeah.
My issue with the last one for me, Glass Onion, was like it was classic like bigger doesn't always equal better. I think they went too big with it, and I think this one looks kind of a smaller scale mystery, maybe like some horror elements in there or something. Cast is like probably the best of the three. I would probably say.
Stop.
Really?
The only one I mean, Glass Onion, I think, is the worst cast.
Yeah, it's not better than the first one, man. I'm
can't-
also
you can't cast one.
admittedly, dude, there's no way you're comparing a cast with Josh O'Connor and Kaylee Spaney to a cast with Lakeith Stanfield and Tony Collette.
And
Like, you're not doing it.
And Andrew Scott.
Cool. Not doing anything for me. Like,
Nah.
I think I like this cast a little more. I wouldn't say it's like the best. I think I like it more, but I think a lot of them are up and comers that haven't proven themselves like the original cast.
Yeah.
Is kind of like a lot
I'm
of
also
Jeremy Renner's good as well.
yeah. I've said this before. I'm just not on the Josh O'Connor train yet. Like I don't see the hype yet. I really don't. He hasn't done anything for me that's like, oh, I want to follow this guy's career for the next couple of
Josh Brolin's in it. He's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Thomas
the
Hayden.
vibes look good at this. It looks really good. Way better
Yeah,
than
the
last
trailer
time
was
we-
great. Yeah, the trailer was good.
excited.
Or the teaser.
The vibe of this fits way more what I'm interested in than like a
Second.
luxurious resort mansion on the ocean. So looks fun. Releasing December 12th on Netflix. So I know Glass Onion will release around the same time, but they did like I think around like Thanksgiving time. So end of November, they had like a 2-week theatrical run. Hope they do the same thing for this. I'll definitely catch it in theaters. Even though when I saw Glass Onion in theaters, I was kind of like, man, that was a big bummer. But this one looks better.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Stranger Things 5. I've seen the first season of Stranger Things. That's it. But I saw the release dates. Fucking very odd. 3 volumes.
Yeah.
The finale a week after the second volume.
Yeah. It's maybe I read this wrong, but it's pretty much they're releasing like volume 1, 2, like it's just 3 episodes. Like
I thought only volume 3 was 1 episode. But it's like a movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Volume 3 is the finale.
So that's what I was confusing. I knew volume 3 was just the finale, but I didn't know if it was like just 3 movies essentially, or if it was like volume 1 is 3 episodes or whatnot.
No, it's like a season 1 part 2 or season part 1, season part 2, and then a like movie to end it all. But,
okay, all right, that makes
man,
sense.
Stranger Things is just such a wild show, man. Like it's
Yeah.
I feel like when I watched season 1, it felt like when I was first getting into like watching like TV and film
anything
seriously,
Yeah,
not even like not like jokingly, but I mean like like it's like I don't even know when did it come out. When was season 1?
2016. That's a guess.
2016.
Yep, July 2016. So I was just finished freshman year of college.
We finished freshman year of college when Stranger Things came out.
That's insane. Yeah, and I didn't watch a whole ton of stuff in college. Like I rarely went to movies. I rarely watched TV and shit because I was in college and like being social and not just watching shows. So I remember watching this during the summer and I was like, yeah, this is sick. And I loved it immediately. Season 1, I think, is still great. And then season 2 was like 2 years later. And then season 3 was when I first moved into this house, which was 3 years ago. Or season 5, season 4, or whatever.
Season 4 was 2022.
Which one was the one with Billy? Was that season 3 or 4?
That was 4. 4, yeah.
But that's the problem with the show, man. It's way too spread out. I can see what went wrong. I can see that Netflix released it. This was like the first big bang for Netflix, where it's like, I mean, House of Cards is probably their first original show that like really took off, but that's a whole different type of audience than Stranger Things. Stranger Things is the first like popular amongst the masses, from young teenagers all the way to adults enjoying the show. So they're like, we're gonna pause everything. Let's make this way bigger than we ever planned on making it. And it just screwed everything up. So it's one of those things that like, I always will have admiration for the series because I loved it when it first came out. have I fully turned to where I dislike it? No, I know a lot of people have, but I just don't really care. Like, I'm gonna watch this when it immediately comes out. I'm gonna watch it. Am I gonna be chomping at the bits and like counting down the days? No, but whatever. I'm glad all the final will be over. So hopefully that like breaks the spell on Millie Bobby Brown's contract, and maybe she can do something outside of Netflix for once.
I love them dearly, but I'm preparing myself for Alex and Sammy to milk Stranger Things season 5 with 50 videos each.
I'm sure. I mean, it's going to be very popular amongst the masses.
Yeah.
It's just they're going to look so weird, man. Because they're like
okay.
25.
Everyone kept saying that there was going to be like a 5-year time jump between seasons 4 and 5. There's a year time jump.
Yeah.
Season 4 was 86. Season 5 is 87, and they look 12 years older.
Yeah, and Finn Wolfhard's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
In a year, Finn Wolfhard's character has jumped 1.5 feet in height.
Yeah. But whatever. Finally, the show will end.
Yeah.
New trailer for Happy Gilmore 2. Anyone watch this?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. I also haven't seen Happy Gilmore 1 though, so I should.
What?
Yeah, I got to get around to that.
Oh shit, that's like the highest level of like actually good Sandler comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Gilmore 1 so fucking good.
That's why I'm gonna watch this
2.
like day one because how much nostalgia I have for the first one. But
Happy
it
Gilmore
looks
2
terrible.
Looks awful. Like absolutely like dreadful. But I will, like Tyler said, watch it because I love Happy Gilmore 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and getting Shooter McGavin back moves the needle for me. I can't lie. That got me. I'm going to be in for him.
I'll tell you what, he's not aged that badly. He doesn't look that much older than he did.
I mean, for what, 30 years ago? And the other one?
I think it was.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Looks good.
But it looks really fucking bad. But I'll watch it. What doesn't look bad, and shamefully we probably won't get a theatrical release for this, is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I was pining for just a peek at Jacob Elordi because man, that guy is just that freaky stature as the monster just works so well. Or hopefully, I'm excited.
I'm surprised this like teaser and like these first image looks didn't like blow up Twitter. Like I feel like people didn't react as like
the trailer
aggressively. Really, I feel like I just saw like no one talking about this for some reason.
Do you reckon that's because it's like a Netflix thing though?
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like this is something that like I don't know. I feel like Twitter should have exploded for this
because the cast is really fucking good as well.
Yeah, like a Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein feels like a Robert Eggers Nosferatu, where it's just like a movie like he was just always made to make.
I
Yeah,
think it's just really Netflix announced so many big things at once. Whereas like I wasn't live looking at Twitter as things are going, so it's like I reacted to like Wake Up Dead Man. I was like, oh shit, we're already past like Frankenstein and like 2 other things like 10 minutes after this release. It's like it was just hard to react to everything because they released a lot of big stuff like latest Stranger Things season, newest Knives Out movie, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, but it was so back to back that no one really had time to like discourse it out. Whereas if they just dropped it like any other trailer, Tuesday morning trailer release, I think it would have been like the talk of the day. But no, this looks fantastic. I'm very stoked for it. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't be.
I mean, how can you not be?
Yeah.
His last film was Pinocchio, right? He hasn't done anything since then, right? And that
we did the show. He
direct
any of those?
Yeah, he did Cabinet of Curiosities. Forgot about that.
Did he
I think that was
I think he might have done like the first episode or something.
I didn't love that. I didn't love that. I really liked Pinocchio though. Guillermo del Toro, I'm not actually that. I mean, I love him. I love how I'm not that big on a lot of his films. There's a few I haven't seen, but I didn't love like Shape of Water, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The only one I love is Pan's Labyrinth. That's going back 20 years or so. Yeah. But I am definitely excited. This looks like very much a sort of thing I'll be interested in.
He's one of those guys that like I feel like I don't love all his films, but like I'm always going to be sat day one and excited for it. So
yeah, for sure.
And yeah, we want to see this in theaters. This deserves to be in theaters, but like I know I saw Doug mention, like I was like, oh, it sucks we can't see this in theaters. And he was like, oh well, Pinocchio was released in theaters. I'm like, yeah, but that was like 2021, 2022. It's like Netflix is, I feel like, pivoted so much more since the last Guillermo del Toro Netflix project to more like less theatrical releases, more streaming only. So even though his last Netflix film did get released in theaters, like 3 years in streaming time is a long time. I feel like Netflix is less.
And we know that it'll be like a limited one anyway, regardless.
Right. They'll do like a 1 week engagement or something, hopefully nationwide and not just like big cities only. But Yeah, because this needs to be seen on the big screen
for sure. When does this release?
Yeah.
October, is it? That would make the most sense.
I have no idea. Halloween would be sick. We also didn't mention that Del Toro directed the massive masterpiece Pacific Rim.
I haven't seen it, so I couldn't tell you.
Everything I'm looking at on Google just says November 2025, so I don't know if they have an official release date yet.
November. Okay,
yeah, but it doesn't have a date. So yeah, hopefully early November. So it's like right after the Halloween. Type,
yeah. It looks really, really cool though. And we also got. I didn't see this. At first, he's the Black Phone 2. I don't think I saw this.
It looks so different than the first Black Phone, which is a movie I really love. I know like a lot of people are mixed on it. I really like the first one. I like Scott Derrickson movies in general. I still haven't seen probably his biggest one, which Sinister is probably like what he's most known for. But I really like him as a director. I really love the Black Phone. It surprised me when I first saw it. The second one looks so different.
Oh shit! Yeah,
which is like best case scenario.
I was gonna say, which like I don't think we wanted to see just another.
No,
I think everyone was kind of like confused when they announced Black Phone.
Yeah.
Too, so
you can't make the Black Phone into like a Scream franchise where you just do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
like I don't think
that a new grabber and a new kid.
Yeah,
I mean you could, but we
could. But
those.
Is Ethan Hawke in it again?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, I really haven't heard much about this at all. Yeah, he is.
You have a full cast. It's Ethan Hawke and the kids from the first one, but everyone else, like Jeremy Davies, I recognize his face, but basically Ethan Hawke's only name brand person that's going to be in this.
Yeah.
Sure.
October 17th, 2025. I'll be seeing it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it for sure. That's kind of the main things. I mean, there was some stuff like Squid Game related, but I don't know if any of us did. Anyone watch season 2?
Yeah, I really.
You watched season 2?
Yeah, I really didn't like it.
Oh,
yeah, I did. I binged it all in like one night because it's like a season 2 part 1, and then part 2, even though it's called season 3, but the way season 2 ends is like the way you would expect episode 4 of an 8-episode season to end, where you're like, okay, we got the first half, like it just that's another franchise in the middle of being Stranger Things-ified right now, where it's like they released season 1, it was way more successful than they thought. So like, all right, spin off, make season 2 bigger and expand the scope.
An English
and
language
pause everything.
David Fincher.
Yeah, so it's Netflix is inevitable for
anything. Was there anything else last night that showed anything? I'm trying to think.
From Netflix?
One Piece, George? Like One Piece?
I think I watched like the first 2 episodes of the live action season 1 and never continued.
I remember you saying the first episode was better than you expected, but clearly
it was. I mean, I never had like a negative thought on the 2 episodes or 3 episodes I had watched. It's just not. I don't know. It wasn't lore I cared to like engage with or continue watching.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like One Piece is so like funny because like what it is like fucking 2,000 episodes of television. So like even before you start season 1 of the live action show, you already feel like you're just so out of the culture and so out of the loop that it's it's exhausting to try and like catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. We also got a trailer for Elio, the new Pixar film, in theaters June 20th. I did not see this either. And I saw that yesterday it's on track to, is it like the 2nd or 3rd worst domestic opening for a Pixar film? Does not surprise me. I haven't heard a thing about this film at all. I know very little about it. It's very easy to see why they're operating towards the lens of sequels because I don't know, they're just not doing much with them. Did it look good?
I think it did. It feels very Luca coded, which I know me and Seth are very high on. So Pixar came out and said, or well, Disney in general came out and said, like, we want to stop doing directors' personal introspective life stories and want to do more like sequel slops. Like Turning Red was obviously a big personal director story. And this looks like this is like the last of like, this is the movie they made. They're like, all right, done with this. So I think what that means is I think I'm probably going to like it quite a bit. And it's going to be like a send off to like original stories from Pixar, I think. And then we're just going to get sequel slop, but I'm excited for it because it's not Toy Story 17, but you know, whatever. Animated is not real anyways. Maybe it'll contend for a ReelTok award. What other animated
probably. Yeah. I mean, I can't think of any of the big animated films coming out this year. Am I being stupid?
I don't know. We need to watch Nizao 2, that Chinese film that's made like $2 billion.
Oh, apparently that's amazing though. I've heard really good things about that. I mean, that's the first one. In terms of movie news this week, one of the main things was the main trio has been cast for the Harry Potter TV series. Dominic McLaughlin as Harry Potter, Arabella Stanton as Hermione Granger, and Alistair Stout as Ronald Weasley. They made Ron Weasley woke. No, they made Ron Weasley ginger, as I tweeted. Yeah, I mean, like, the reactions to this were
expectedly awful,
as you expect. People
obviously terrible
going after children because they're fucking weird.
Hermione, Arabella Stanton's
her
audition tape was insane.
Yeah, that was really
cool.
That is Hermione, isn't it?
But holy shit, she looks. She's that was so impressive.
Literally, like, perfect. Could not have given us a better 22 seconds.
Yeah. Still not feeling much confidence towards the show. I
feel like this only like added to my confidence, if anything.
Well, I think it's just like, regardless of how good I thought any of the castings were, I think it's just a Harry Potter show we don't need. So I'm always like, I kind of watch the films. It's just weird.
It's crazy talking about it though, because it's like we'll look back on this episode in like 10 years from now, and like all those three names most likely would be like household names, and no one knows who they are now.
Yeah.
So
they will be.
That's true.
Everyone will know Arabella Stanton, Dominic McLaughlin, and Alistair Stout, unless this shows a colossal flop. But even if it is, I think they're already investing so much. I think they're like 7 seasons no matter what. So it's like these are going to become.
Do you think that they'll do all the seasons? I know we spoke about this before, but do you think they'll actually?
Just going to ask. No, I
don't.
I think they get through it. I don't think this gets canceled.
Do you think?
I think the only. I don't know. I
can't imagine the budgets on these. Like,
even if season 1 is like not received well, like there's no way they're putting this much time and effort into this reboot that they're going to cancel it. I think they're going to see it through.
It's just the financials involved. Like, it's
going
to be.
I think worst case is maybe season 1. Like, if it is open to negative reviews, they don't cancel the show, but they rush through the show. Like, they just say, okay, let's just get it out and finish it and just move on.
Yeah. I just think, like, I can't imagine how much money they're putting into this. It's going to be fucking insane. I am very intrigued to the reactions. When does it come out? Is it like 2 years away?
Yeah, I think 2027. Nothing confirmed yet, though. But yeah, we'll see. I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm excited, but I'm intrigued.
On the money note, Lilo and Stitch are the 4th biggest domestic box office gross on a Monday ever, beating No Way Home and Avengers Endgame. Crazy. That's crazy.
It's insane because I've seen on my For You page people all over the political spectrum hating on this movie. So it's like, how is this making so much money when I think no matter what people's backgrounds or mindsets are on like life and politics and anything, like everyone seems to hate this movie. So it's like unifying the world by hatred of this film.
Yeah, I had no idea it was going to. I mean, it's Lilo and Stitch. I knew it was going to make a lot, but not to the extent that it has. I had no idea. Sabrina Carpenter reportedly being added star in Mamma Mia 3. I had no idea there's Mamma Mia 3 coming out. I will watch Mamma Mia 2 because I should watch that one.
Good movie.
Yeah, Riley hates Mamma Mia too, even though Cam loves it.
I was going to say, Cam thinks it's better than the first, right?
Yeah, because Cam's horny for Lily James, which is the same reason you love Mamma Mia 3, even though Mamma Mia 1 will always be the best. Sabrina Carpenter being in it, I honestly hate that. I would hate that if she's like the lead, but I know it's something that a lot of people are excited about, but I would hate it.
Oh yeah, she was an actor, wasn't she?
Yeah, like Disney Channel actor.
Yeah,
Disney
Channel.
Put air quotes around that acting.
She was an actor, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan says his Clayface script is inspired by Feet of Clay episodes in the Batman animated series. Is that a good thing?
George, have you seen that?
The
Feet of Clay, the Batman animated series.
Yeah, I've seen the show. I'm not like 100% remembering the Feet of Clay episodes, so I was meaning to go back and rewatch them, but I love the show, so good news.
On his Clayface. So cool.
Yeah.
The
only reason I included that.
Yeah, true. Mark Hamill says he won't be returning as Luke Skywalker again. I really think they should focus on the future and all the new characters. Fair enough. I mean, we still got like Star Wars for ages. I think like one of the first quotes from George was kind of them moving past the.
I've been preaching this.
What did you say? Moving past the.
Yeah, since the day one of our podcast, I've been preaching that we need Star Wars to move past the Skywalker saga.
Saga.
Like I don't even want like references to the Skywalker family in future projects.
I mean, there's not really any need to. There's so much they could explore out there, which they are doing with Andor,
Dude,
especially.
it's an endless galaxy. You could make a movie. You could have slapped the Star Wars tag on past lives and told me that it was because like
okay,
like do anything. There's endless possibilities in the universe. Star Wars is a endless galaxy of stars. We could be in the Star Wars right now.
great.
Like
Past lives, Star Wars, nice.
Yeah,
What's that one? All right, first trailer for 28 Years Later won the top award, the Golden Trailer Awards. Also won Best Trailer Voiceover, deserved, by the way.
I've been saying a lot of shit, okay? But I've been saying, Tyler, I thought you were just ripping a Four Loko for a second. That was really funny.
Yep.
I really thought you were just smacking back a Four Loko at it's 8 a.m. where you
The
are.
grape juice energy drink at 8:30.
I've been saying for a while that 28 Years Later trailer is one of the best trailers that I've ever seen. That voiceover
of all time
of Boots is so
good.
fucking good. It's unreal.
Yeah, I was already like unbelievably excited for this because how much I love the first one, and when I saw that trailer, I was like, yeah.
Also, I didn't even know that there were Golden Trailer Awards. Honestly.
I had no idea either. I'm intrigued to see what won before.
I was just about to pull that up. Let's see. Golden Trailer Awards.
I've never heard of them.
Winners.
But I know that this deserved it.
What do you think won last year? Take a wild guess.
I feel like no, that was the year before. Last year.
Yeah, where is it? Hold on.
Probably like Dune, maybe. No?
21st Annual Awards Ceremony.
Furiosa,
so
one of those
2020. Where are we? Holy shit, this is a lot of shit. Okay. Shut up, John McEnroe. Okay. 2020. Dude, how is this organized? Oh, this isn't just like a trailer award.
So it's not a trailer award.
Okay, 2024. 24th Golden Trailer Awards. Okay. Best. Oh, but this is broken out into categories. Where's like the
well, what's the top award?
So is there little categories of the trailers themselves?
I don't know what the top award is because I'm not seeing like an overall.
The Palm de Trailer. I'll find this before you.
Best action film, best action trailer last year was Monkey Man.
Wow, that's interesting. There's not an overall.
Hold on, I got.
I'll find it before George.
I have to be looking at the wrong thing. This is all categories.
There are way too many categories I'm seeing right now. They also do poster.
What one poster?
I'm
Probably Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh yeah, that was a good poster. Dominion.
Hold on, I have to be looking at this incorrectly. This is stupid.
Listeners,
this doesn't have last. Yeah, this doesn't have last year's update. But best posters last year, best billboard for 2 years ago was Wonka.
Best billboard.
Best comedy poster is Drive Away Dolls. Best action poster was Napoleon. Best horror poster, Abigail.
Abigail.
Yeah, this seems like a mid-award show. I'd be embarrassed to ever win an award here.
How dare you? That's so hard.
But I love seeing the behind. I love to see the behind the scenes of 28 years later and like all the iPhones because it is just like the same thing as the
those.
Whenever a movie says shot on iPhone, it's the biggest
it's the biggest clickbait in the world.
Because those rigs that they're showing, this is almost like a joke. Like it's almost like
you zoom in on the iPhones, and they are like built.
They're like it's like an iPhone in like a studio grade like
lens,
phone case lens that they just. I want to see someone genuinely just holding an iPhone and recording. That's what I want.
It is cool though. I will say that, like seeing the rig and kind of how this sets up. Like,
it's sick as fuck.
28 days later, have such a distinct look that's going to be very hard to replicate nowadays. But I think if they can do a little bit of that, I'd be really impressed. Yeah. Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie want to bring back Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder. We're having serious conversations about it.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really like Tropic Thunder. He's fine.
Tom Cruise clearly likes it because Tom Cruise invented that role. Like that was like a role that didn't exist in Tropic Thunder that he pitched to Ben Stiller and like made happen. So. But it's weird that him and Christopher McQuarrie, I know it came up in an interview like for press for Mission Impossible. That's probably why Christopher McQuarrie is there. Yeah. It's probably just something they've been joking about, but You know, pretty much everyone who's in that is still like in that movie is still like a mainstay in Hollywood, like Robert Downey Jr., Ben Stiller,
and still Jack Black.
Jack Black.
Well, Jack Black is a mainstay. In
Unfortunately,
Hollywood.
he is a mainstay.
Yeah.
He is still
dropping trash.
I don't see him ever doing Tropic Thunder though. Now that he's like the last 10 years was like he's so focused on like keeping such a clean cut image to the keep getting his pocket stuffed of like children's slop. So I think he would never come back for Tropic Thunder because he only wants to do like the most squeaky clean stuff so he can continue being Bowser and shit like that.
Kit Connor is in talks to star in the live action Elden Ring movie for A24. Alex Garland set to direct. That's my
I'm excited. I don't know what Elden Ring is, but I'm excited.
It's my favorite game of all time, so I'm going to be insufferable.
Are you playing the new one yet? Didn't they just drop that? Like,
I don't know. It's like a multiplayer version, so I'm not like that. You have to have 3 people, and I don't know.
What is like what do you do in Elden Ring? Like what is the premise?
I know. So
we don't have to get into it.
It doesn't have it. It's not like a Last of Us adaptation. Elden Ring doesn't have a story. It's not a narrative-driven game.
You're just
but it's like fantasy, right? It's fantasy, like
So it's high-end sort of medieval fantasy, really high scale. You know, I think you play as a Tarnished who is essentially defeating like demigods and defeating bosses and gods and stuff to claim the world back. And there isn't a scope of like narrative like a Last of Us, for example, where it's like A to B. There's nothing like that in the game, so I don't know how they're going to adapt it. There's small quest lines here and there, but it's a very outlandish thing. I think the only way they could do an Elden Ring film would be like animated, you know, like, logically. So for me, this sounds shit, but you know, I'll watch it. And finally, Clint Eastwood says he's directing a new film and already in pre-production. He says 95 years old tomorrow. Is that today or tomorrow? Tomorrow?
Probably a couple days ago now.
Yeah, he's probably 95 already.
I think it's 95, yeah. There are directors who lose their touch at a certain age, but I'm not one of them. Tarantino, you fucking suck. You
all of the quote tweets about Tarantino had me cracking up.
Bro.
I saw one that was like Tarantino and his fuck ass foot fetish.
That fucking bitch.
I don't think I've ever seen a Clint Eastwood movie. I'm like, yeah, this is like all-timer stuff, but it's similar to Guillermo del Toro. You know, and Guillermo del Toro is infinitely more talented, so don't get me wrong. But the comparison, I just mean that I'll see all their movies.
Just mad consistent.
Bro, he just like 95 years old is crazy making films. I mean, he's made a lot of films, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of whether you like him, it's just the fact that he's just not accepting the point in the career is at, and he just keeps going. It's fucking honorable. And yeah, Quentin Tarantino, you fucking bitch.
Get the word.
Fuck ass foot fetish.
Fuck you bitch. Yeah, it's kind of like
me up yesterday.
The episode for the week. Again, shout out executive producers, Stefan Johnson, Cody Whitney, and Cole Beaver. On Friday, we're reviewing Phantom of the Paradise. Thursday, we are doing
I think an auction draft of best superhero movies of all time, but we'll see. Maybe we have to scrap that last minute, but we'll see. I don't know. Depends.
Cool.
If you guys are good to record right after this, then we'll do that. If you're not, then we'll figure something else out.
Cool. All right, cool. And then next week we've got John Wick themed episode. Ballerina comes out on the Friday, I think. George won't be here for a John Wick episode.
I won't be here for a John Wick episode, unfortunately.
Which is wild.
I think I'm gonna try and rewatch them all this week. It's been calling my name a bit like a green.
I haven't watched them in ages. Since 4.
Damn.
You have to watch. I will tell you, you have to watch every episode of The Continental as well.
True.
No, you don't, right? Yeah. You have to watch every single little bit here and there. But yeah, excited for that. But we'll see you all on Thursday with our hopefully superhero draft or whatever else we decide to do. And see you soon.
Peace.